The male was the original hoe, and women weren't loving these hoes.
Let me be clear. This is about to become a Pastor P page because she keeps coming up on my fight, and everything she's saying is right. She goes on to explain,
women were a community, and they chose the most fit male, and they passed your penis around, and a lot of them got pregnant. And then if you was up to par, they kept you. If you wouldn't, they let you skedaddle. They just took the seed, and they didn't love them hoes.
and this reminded me of something my dad told me. My dad is from Equatorial Guinea, this tiny little country here in Western Central Africa, and his nation are the indigenous people of the country. So they've been around a long time. So one day I asked my dad, what was marriage like before the Spaniards colonized? And you know what he said? First, he laughed in my face and was like, marriage? Because according to him, before the Europeans came, there really was no marriage. My dad's people are matrilineal, meaning all rights, property, titles, etc., go down through the mother's line. You are your mother's child. Your paternity doesn't matter. And so prior to the colonizers showing up, women were with who they were with, and when they were sick of it, they moved on to the next. They could have children with as many men as they wanted, and there was absolutely no stigma because the line goes through the women, which makes sense, right? Because there's never a question of who the mother is. If it came out of your coochie, it's your boochie. So women were free to come and go as they please. And you see this in a lot of indigenous nations prior to them being colonized. I've been reading this book, The Creation of the Patriarchy by Gerda Lerner. She uses the example of the indigenous nation that we typically call the Iroquois, and how prior to colonization, when they men's was acting up, all a wife had to do to get a divorce was put his shit outside the door. So Auntie Pastor P is right. Prior to colonization,